We're all gonna grow up one day. All of us are gonna be adults. And if we keep treating our students like kids and keep treating them like they're never gonna grow up, they're just gonna go out there and do it, but they're not gonna have the information they need.
There's a lot of young adults my age who are just so misguided on information.
I think it'll be way better for me now that I know all of this.
If you're not ready to talk about sex, you're not ready to have sex.
Ultimately, comprehensive human sexuality education is the opportunity for our young people to gain the knowledge, skills, but also really the practical opportunities to practice those skills to really help inform the decisions that they want to make, specifically related to relationships and sexual health.
Us being able to teach it to them in a safer environment than them learning in the real world I think it's one of the biggest important things to do with that. The best part about the curriculum we teach is each grade is a different step of where they should be in life. The sixth graders, they talk more about accepting different roles, communication skills, what is gender identity, things like that. Whereas seventh grade, they're more the biological stuff, learning about STDs and things. And then eighth grade's more about, sexual assault, learning the real world aspects of that, and same with ninth grade. So as they get older, they can learn the more deeper sections of it.
We looked at the data, and the data was pretty clear that our students were participating in some risky behaviors. If you look at that data and you see what I'm seeing, it's a wake-up call.
Sex ed, it really used to be about the straight logistics of the actual act of sex, whereas now I think we understand that it's really about the broader picture of how you have a relationship with somebody else. We thought students weren't having the types of open conversations that they needed to be having with adults.
We had, like I said, it felt like 2 years of having conversations, looking at different curriculums. So we had to pick a program, and parents were involved and students were involved. Everybody was at the table who needed to be and had those conversations. Parents shouldn't really be worried about what to expect. We have permission slips, so what topics are off limits, and if we want to see those lessons, we can before we decide. So we have a lot of say, and that's important, I think, to a lot of parents.
I think this is an opportunity for us as a community to come together and really make sure that our youth are prepared for themselves.
We have to talk about boundaries and consent and the actual act of sex and gender identity. It brings in so many different components, and I think that creates kind of a safer space.
We provide the support financially to be able to train up teachers, to hire folks as coordinators or direct instructors, to provide incentives or compensation to youth and community members. We are hoping to see schools that are invested, for schools that are excited to have a conversation with their community around this, and then we can help you figure out the rest with our funding and our technical assistance.
I feel like it's just helped us address this huge hole that we've talked about for years and sort of never taken action on because we didn't know what to do.
One of its biggest things, I think, is making sure that you're comfortable with what's going on and that you know what's going on. You're not confused.
I think the ideal outcome is young people who have empathy for different identities and communities, and young people who feel that they belong somewhere. And of all of those young people, having the skills and the knowledge and sort of being empowered to be able to make their own decisions and knowing that they have the power to make those decisions for themselves.